student. I started my MSCS in fall 19. Um, yeah. So where did I do my co-op? So I did my co-op in fall 19, and it was at Intuit. So if you're not familiar, it's the organization that makes TurboTax, which is pretty famous in the US, and yeah, and also QuickBooks and Mint. So I was working with one of the big data teams at Intuit, and it was a great experience for me. I got to learn a lot. It was fun. So I'll just go through what helped me get this co-op and what helped me during this co-op that I learned at Northeastern. So yeah, the courses I found helpful for my co-op. So the first one I would say is Program Design Paradigm, which is CS 5010. I feel this is a very important course, and it helped me a lot because it really prepares you to, prepares you as a software developer. Uh, because it really focuses on good software development practices, object-oriented design practices, and also inculcates testing-oriented software development habit in you. So that really helped me because in real software, big software companies, there are certain ways how software development goes ahead because the scale of software is so big. So yeah, so basically this course I would say really helped me, and it will help you too. So look out for that. Second one is co-op seminar, which was CS 6949. So this course really prepared me, helped me prepare my soft skills, like how do I present myself during an interview, how do I prepare for an interview. There are like interviews just not like a technique, like does not just include technical stuff, but you also have to do a lot of research and prepare before other than just technical stuff. So this seminar this course really helped me do that, and also brush up and prepare my resume accordingly. The next one is algorithms, which is CS 5010. This one I think is a really important course. It's a bit challenging, but it really helps you strengthen your CS fundamentals, which really are important during interviews because companies look out for how good your basics are and how strong your fundamentals are. So yeah, so algorithms really help me prepare for my interviews and also help me think in the right direction during my co-op when I was writing and designing software. The last one is database management systems, which is CS 5010. This one, during this course, I had a chance to work on a full-scale web development project, including the back end and the front end during the entire semester with a team. So this was a really great experience for me, in not just learning about databases, but also like having a hands-on experience on how to develop a software project, and also handle all the other things that come with it apart from the technical stuff. So so that helped me a lot, and using those experiences I was able to apply my skills in my during my co-op. So these are the courses, but there is also something which was not directly related to courses, which was my co-op advisors. So that my co-op advisor was Smile, and he was so much approachable and so friendly. I went to him freely, asking many doubts before I got my co-op about how the co-op process goes and how should I approach certain situations during my co-op search. So I would highly recommend, please, if you have any doubts, please approach your co-op advisors. They are always there, they're really friendly, and they will help you whenever you have any doubt or you are in a difficult situation or you have a mixed mind. That really helped me, and it will help you too. So that is one other advice other than indirectly related to the academics. So yeah, that was my experience, and that is how my academics helped me during my co-op research, and also during my co-op. Uh, yeah. So yeah, I'll hand it over to Neil. Hey Neil, sorry, you're on mute, I guess.
Okay, my bad. Classic mistake. Yeah, Neil here. You guys can refer to me as the other Neil. First of all, thank you to Amiret, Anna, Kathy for setting this up, and welcome everyone. So I will talk about my experience here at Northeastern. So yeah, Neil, if you can just yeah. So I'm just going to go through a couple of points that feel important to me first, and then I can talk to you about the courses and everything. The my number one point is assignments are fun because I want you guys to look forward to the assignments that are given out in class rather than being a little wary or concerned about it. Because it's really an opportunity to learn in a way that you will literally go out in the industry and implement. It's very close to the first hand experience that you get out in the industry in big software companies or even at startups, which I will talk about in a while. Um, Again, the second point sounds very cliche, but this is something that I really found that it worked for me. Initially, when I came here, obviously I wanted to learn, but everything was only about grades and getting a job. But then I slowly figured that the more you actually start liking the coursework, the more you start falling in love with it, grades will come as a byproduct, and you will be so invested in learning that you will definitely find more opportunities and more places to seek co-ops and everything like that. The third point is make sure that you pick your courses uh, in a wise manner. That being said, obviously you can be a little versatile, but make sure that you go through the roster that's posted. They usually post it sometime before the actual registration starts, so you have a buffer that you can use in order to pre-plan. Use that and plan backup courses, because sometimes you might go into situations where, okay, I really wanted that course under a professor, but I didn't get it, and that's fine. That happens, but maybe you can do it next semester. But it helps to have backup courses planned so that you can fit it to your schedule again. Um, so use university resources to your benefit. By this, what I mean is the point that Neil mentioned, right? Our co-op advisors here are amazing. I also had Smile as my co-op advisor, and I was lucky enough to have him as my co-op advisor because when I was seeking co-op, unfortunately, COVID just hit, and I went into a situation where I had rejected an offer because I thought it wasn't exactly what I wanted to do, and then I wasn't finding anything else because of this whole COVID situation. And usually it's not like that, but Smile really helped me to understand that good things take time. It comes, and I kept on speaking to him. I kept on pinging him, speaking to him on Teams, reaching out to him, and I also went to the career center where they helped me build my resume. Initially, I thought that my resume was already pretty good and it couldn't be made better. But then when I went there, I actually got to know that, okay, there are a number of things that I can do to make my resume more interesting, and so that someone who reads my resume can definitely look at it in a better way, and I can have more chances of them reaching out to me. And then coming back to the most important topic, which is academics that helped me in my career as a co-op, is definitely programming design paradigms, which was one of the best courses that I've taken here. It thoroughly prepared me in a context of how to work in the software industry. And in any company, you don't just go and start writing code. There's a lot of other things that you do. Sometimes when you're given a task to go and do from scratch, you are expected to design your own systems. So how do you design that? How do you write systems in a way that's modular, that don't have to be changed when your application is scaled up? how do you use design patterns specifically, so that you can make development really convenient, not just for you but even for people who join after you and maybe might want to take up your work and work on your project. This course definitely helped me a lot about that. And the second course that helped me a lot was Foundations of Software Engineering, because of another reason that Neil mentioned, was that I had the opportunity of working in like a simulated team environment, which uh, we had the opportunity to build a complete product from start to end, front end, back end, everything, and we ourselves cycled as sprint masters. It's okay if you guys don't know what that means, you will figure it out, but it just basically enables you to put yourself through a very realistic simulation of how the real world is. And both of these courses were so good that when I went into my actual co-op, I felt as if I'm just doing my course over again. The only thing that differed was the actual code that I was writing, but the process was the same. And yeah, these were the things that I wanted to talk you through. I worked at a company called Castodon, which is a startup into predictive analytics for weather technologies, and I'll be joining full time as Amazon after I'm done. Yeah, so that was about me, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And yeah, maybe Neil, you can hand it to someone else.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Tanay Zoshi. I'm also an MSCS student who joined in fall 2019. During the summer 2020 and fall 2020, I worked at a company called Affirm Networks, which has recently become part of Microsoft. And a great thing about that was the benefits from Microsoft actually propagated through to me as well. So that was a great experience. It's a 5G solutions company. So most of the things that I worked on were system level, networks level, and yeah, so like some of the advice that I would like to give today is going to be similar to what my colleagues just talked about, but a little bit I would like to give you a little bit more insight into my personal experience throughout my MSCS degree. So one thing I would like to talk about is the core courses. So the MSCS structure is set up so that your core courses are going to be really helpful during your co-op as well as during the co-op search. As you know, you have you have to take three core courses. Two of them are mandatory. The first is CS 5010 programming design paradigms. Another one is CS 5800 algorithms, and then for your third core you have the ability to choose between computer systems or foundations of software engineering. As my colleagues talked about this programming design paradigms course, I think it's a really important course. I can't stress enough how important it was for me during my co-op experience as well. This course talks about how design is much more important than just simply implementing the code. And for someone like if you were like me that who did not have any experience in the industry before coming here, this course is going to be absolutely crucial because some of the things that I worked on during my co-op, it was almost as if they were some assignments from this course. So I would suggest taking this course as soon as possible. I guess I believe during the when I joined in fall 2019, it was mandatory for us to take it in the first semester. I don't know if it is the case right now, but even if it isn't, I would suggest taking this as soon as possible because this is definitely going to be much more helpful. And for the CS 5800 algorithms, I don't think I need to tell you why it is important. Algorithms teaches you how to write efficient code. It teaches you the different buckets into which like regular problems fall off when you're writing code, and which algorithms to use to efficiently solve those problems. Most of the companies are going to have coding tests as part of their hiring process, and you need to know you need to know the details of this course. They are going to test you on the details of this course, just to get through the first initial hiring process of these companies. So of course I would also suggest taking this as soon as possible. I had taken both of them in my first semester. Some students will say like don't take both of them in the first semester. I don't know, like it's not that difficult. I would suggest like completing them as soon as possible. And as I said, for your first and as I said for your third core, you can choose between one of the computer systems and foundations of software engineering. I guess my colleagues talked so much about the foundations of software engineering. It is really important because as Neil said, it creates this simulation of working in the field. It teaches you about the different methodologies that are used while developing a large scale software application. And most of the companies are going to look favorably by seeing this in your resume. I personally actually chose computer systems. I had taken it, and it was because I'm a little bit more interested into systems level programming. It's basically an operating systems course, and if you like that kind of thing, this is going to teach you a lot more about the basis of our software engineering industry. And some companies like Red Hat and VMware are really going to look highly if they see this on your resume. So if those are the kinds of companies you want to pursue, this is definitely one of the courses to take. This helped me in my co-op as well because since it is a networks company, many of the things I worked on were system level things, Bash scripts, Python scripts, backend Java code. So this course helped me a lot. uh, Now, other than the core courses, you have to take most like all the other courses are electives. And for electives, I think it's just fair game to take any course, but I would suggest taking different types of courses, taking courses from different parts of the industry. So for example, some of you might want to pursue AI or machine learning, so, and that's great, but still maybe try to take computer graphics, something like that, because you don't know, even if you don't know if you might like that more, and even if you are not gonna try to pursue something in the different areas, uh, then it's still going to be helpful in the parts that you do want to work on. And one more, and why I would like to say to take different types of courses is, this might be for many of you, this might be the last time you're like learning through an educational institute like this. So I would suggest trying to diversify your portfolio. So in choosing your electives, try to take courses that have team projects in them. You can shoot up professors and ask them whether this course is going to have a team project or not, because they're going to teach you a lot about working as in a team. Most of us are, we do work in industry, we work as a team. We have to communicate with our colleagues. We have to, when we are writing programs, we have to communicate regarding which parts of the programmers are going to be written by whom. And these courses also help you in building a network. So if you have colleagues from different parts of this industry, it's just gonna give you more opportunities. It's just gonna bring up more opportunities for you to find these co-ops. And last but not least, I would definitely suggest, most of you are gonna have a co-op seminar course, are gonna take this co-op seminar course. And I would suggest making use of the knowledge of our co-op advisors as much as you can. So I had the pleasure of learning under both Kathy and Smile, the two of the MSCS co-op advisors, and they have been really helpful during my co-op search. Kathy helped me a lot during resume building. She told me about how action verbs are important in writing your resume. How while writing the bullet points about your experience, you should write it right. Like you should write about the impact that it made rather than just some writing about the things that you implemented. And like uh, refactoring that resume afterwards, I saw a lot of difference between the opportunities that I was getting. And Smile helped me a lot in how to in advising me about communicating with different recruiters, communicating with your manager, etc. And also he solved a lot of doubts about that I had uh, in uh, during the co-op, while writing the co-op reflection points, or maybe if I had some doubt regarding reaching out to managers reaching out to my recruiters while I was working. He solved a lot of doubts about that. He knows, like, I pestered him a little bit about that as well. So yeah, make use of the knowledge of your co-op advisors. Ask them as many questions as you can, because that's definitely going to help you. And yeah, so I hope the advice that I gave you helped you a little bit in choosing your course, like choosing a path towards the co-op search as well as during your co-op. And I would now I would like to hand it off to Veja.
Hello. So my name is Vijay. So I'm from Align program, and I joined the program in 2019 spring semester. Before joining the program, I majored in chemistry and was a material engineer. I co-opted as Facebook and Uber, and I was working in a distributed-based team in Facebook and a machine learning platform team in Uber. So they are both infra roles, so infrastructure roles. So I will mainly focus on this field. So I'll talk about how academic helps me in the co-ops and the corresponding courses. So I think first, in both companies I have interned before, they all have a high standard for code quality and a hard line for test coverage. So high quality code does not just mean code that without bugs. It also requires that code follow the code style, which means they should be well organized and easy to read. And I learned how to achieve this in this OOD course, because in this course, we really focus on the code quality. And the tests are also important as well. So I spend lots of efforts writing tests in my both internships. So there's saying that if you write too many tests, too many codes without tests, you will be likely in a big trouble. And in this course, we will have lots of chances to write tests in the code. So actually, as I will take many MOOCs as well, online courses as well, it's really hard to find a course like this, which focus on code quality and tests outside school. So it's really worth taking this course. Also, in both companies, learning fast is an important matrix for interns. But how to learn fast? So many concepts in computer science are quite similar. So if we learn the thinking pattern from one place, we may apply it to many other fields as well. So this will make us learn faster. So we can accumulate these thinking patterns in various courses. And I think the course that helps me the most is the computer system course. So in this course, I learned how to use callbacks and management skills using C language in this course. And although in my Facebook internship, I was using C++ and Python, and in Uber, I was using C++, Java, and Go. So the idea is quite similar. So the techniques are just the same, except that we use different languages. So this helps me understand the code base much more easier. Also, academic skills can help me gain some skills that can be applied directly in my internships. For example, I take the distributed system course. In this course, I learned the general routines of development backend software. And so in this course, we need to develop in the cloud, on the cloud, and deploy on the cloud as well. So this is exactly what I did in the Facebook and the Uber internship. We need to develop on the cloud, build on the cloud, test on the cloud, and deploy on the cloud. So they are exactly the same experience, except that they call it in different names, but the general routines are quite similar. Also, we need to be independent in the internships. Independence is really an important matrix for interns, because mentors, they cannot help you all the day. They have their own jobs to do. And sometimes you could be the only person in your team that knows your project's tech stack well. I have this kind of experience in my Uber internship. I needed to develop a Java interface for open source deep learning tool Neuropod, which is written in C++. So I need to use Java native interface. And nobody in my team knows how to use it. So I need to learn it by myself and apply it to my project. Also, when discuss the design matrix and project goals with my mentor, so because I know Gen I better than him, it's often the case that I need to make the decision. So I will have this kind of experience before in this natural language processing course. So in this course, in the second half semester, there is a project that's really need to develop it independently. We need to set up our goals by ourselves. We need to choose a topic by ourselves. We need to search and read papers and set up evaluation matrix and design experiments and write the codes. This course really helped me how to develop independently, and this helped my Uber internship a lot. Also, there are some academic concepts for certain fields. If you work in teams in these related fields, then this will help you a lot. Like in the distributed system course, the recommended readings tells you a lot about distributed system concepts like linearization, like serialization, like pixels, like raft. So I use these concepts a lot in my Facebook internship, and it really helps me. And although, so in big tech companies, actually, although they usually use general hiring, which means that they hire all the SD software engineers in a similar way, but when in the team match, there will be a questionnaire. If you list this course in your resume, it will likely that you will work in these corresponding teams. So it's really interesting to apply what you have learned to real work. Also, I think soft skills really help me a lot as well. So in this co-op seminars course, I learned how to communicate with, how to communicate in career, and this is, for example, how to ask mentor questions. If you ask mentor questions a lot, that's really fun in the first few weeks, but later, then mentor may think you are not independent enough, and also never ask the same question twice. So when you ask question and mentor give you an answer, you can just remember it. So this can show that you can learn very fast. So many similar details you can learn from this course. And especially for our international students, we can learn American career culture a lot in this course as well. Also, I got mock interviews in this course, which helped me hunt intern positions a lot. So once I was mocked by Amazon employees, so it really helps. So this course really helps me as well. So I think this is how academics help me in different projects. So feel free to ask me questions.
Great. I want to thank all of our volunteers for sharing, and now we can just have a time for Q&A. So feel free to unmute yourself, or you can also type your question in the chat if you prefer, and then our students can address your questions.
Excuse me, I have a question for Wei Jie.
Hi.
Hi, it's like because I'm also an online student, so I don't have the background of the computer science at all. Could you go back to your slide? So I'd like to know when you start to find a co-op, did you take all of these courses and then you?
No, when I'm trying to find a co-op, I just take the object-oriented design, all the online bridge courses and algorithm course, and that's a very important one. So if you want to succeed in the interview, so algorithm is a basic requirement. So I started hunting co-op in the fall semester. So at that time, I only take the online bridge courses and the algorithm course. And I was taking a networking course and distributed system course at that time in the fall semester. So I think as long as you have finished the online courses and the algorithm courses, you will be your knowledge will be enough to find a co-op position.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I see one question in the chat. Uh, Anyone of you wants to go answer this?
Um, I wouldn't be sure about that. I just know that there is a human computer interaction course that's offered. I don't remember the course number, and I would guide you to maybe read about the syllabus for that course and plan when you want to take it. And I'm sure that it'll be very helpful for you to take that course and take that experience into your co-op. But unfortunately, I don't have any experience about human computer interaction, so I wouldn't be the best person to talk about that.
Yeah, so the thing is, interestingly enough, I had almost taken that course in my first semester, but then I switched it for algorithms. I do think the professor was definitely helpful. It's usually a small class because of course I believe most people don't take it in the first semester. Maybe that was the reason, but yeah, the course is really interesting. It's set up you have to you can program in any language, and most of the things that you're gonna program is going to be creating interfaces, designing interfaces, and then creating that interface in your language. And uh, it the professor teaches you the importance of design, interface design, as well as the history of the graphical interface design. And there are opportunities that the courses professor leads you to, but sadly I wasn't I did not complete the course. I had switched it for algorithms, so I don't really know near the end the projects that were that near the end. But yeah, definitely the human computer interaction course is going to be helpful if you're interested in.
On that one, I would like to add is because HCI focuses so much on UI, not just UI in terms of designing, but a lot on how users will interact with your system. Maybe two courses I would suggest is one is web dev, that would be a bit useful, and the second one would be FSE, that is CS 5500, because even that course gives you uh, like helps you learn how to approach uh, uh, any software development and how to involve all the stakeholders when you are designing and developing any kind of a software. So, which would be very important if you are planning to uh, make any kind of a user interface that will be used by anyone. So, yeah, so these are the two courses I would suggest. Uh, and there are other two questions. So, David asks, like, can you guys walk through what an interview typically looks like, and any thoughts on what employers are looking or what stands on your resume? Hmm. You guys want to go in the same order?
Yeah, so typically interviews you and the interviewer collaborate on something like Google Doc. So when you type code, so the interviewer can see it at once. So typically first it will be some background questions or behavior questions, but for tech companies, mostly just to make you feel less nervous. It's really no big point there, but you need to know your project in your resume well. And then often there will be 1 or 2 algorithm questions. So actually, I think most questions are not asking about algorithms. It's really asked about your programming skills and like how do you handle exception, how do you consider corner case, how do you communicate with the interviewer well. So you really do not need to know hard algorithms like KMP algorithms or Targin's algorithms. You really do not need to know them well, but you need to know how to program. You need to master the basic programming skills well, like recursion. So I think, and there often the case that there will be lots of follow-ups. So when you write answer, the interviewer may ask you how to improve it in terms of time complexity and space complexity. So you need to understand that as well as well.
Yeah, like Veja said, it's usually some kind of algorithmic round, followed by, depending on whether the company intends to, then there can be a system design round. That depends on the kind of role you're applying for. But you are expected to know the basics of algorithms, sorting, stuff like that. Maybe the difference between dynamic programming and other kinds of strategies to solve problems. And on a very general basis, companies can throw at you, if they are not super competitive, they can throw at you easy to moderate level questions that usually, if you do your fair bit of research, uh, these might be known to be like one of the most frequently asked questions. That being said, there's obviously companies who prefer taking a different route. For example, if you go and uh, try interviewing for startup positions, then they might have their own set of requirements, and they might ask you focused questions, and that's expected since they are looking for a very specific set of skills. But in general, I think it's a good idea to have a good base of algorithmic questions. You obviously don't need to go very, very deep, but make sure that the ones that are really common, like obviously lists and heaps and different sorting methods and different ways of calculating the execution time of a program and the space that a program takes. Make sure that you guys are well versed with these things, because it's just variants of these questions that you will be asked in interviews. And then based upon which company you are applying for, if they intend you to go into somewhat of a design role, then you might be asked some system design questions as well. And there's enough resources that you can refer to if you want to prepare for that as well. And yes, in general, the soft skills that you need to take into an interview are also very important. And for that, obviously, Kathy and Smile and your other co-op advisors are here as well to guide you through that, because it's important about not just knowing how to solve the question, but to tell them, to present it to them and make them understand that that you understand. Because I've seen things happening where even I have been in situations where I know how to do it, but when I'm trying to put it on the board, it's not coming out right. So that makes the person who's interviewing you think that you're confused and you don't know how to do it, when in reality you do. So yeah, that there's not much to it. It's just about knowing these basic questions, and maybe a little bit of practice will get you through the things that I just spoke. So yep, that's my answer to the interview question.
If you don't mind, I will jump in just to kind of answer the second part of David's question, and I think it's very important. And it's like what employers are looking for. I think both of you really answer very well that question. And it's what stands on your resume. I think the one thing that stands more than anything is your mistakes. So pay attention to that more than anything. Typos, misspelling, formatting, those are things that stand out more than anything. And you're not gonna get the call just because you have a couple of typos or misspell words. So use your friends, use your advisors, use career design, go, more people see your resume, it's better. The resume is the only document that's gonna give you good COP, but it's also only document that's gonna give you your job of your dreams. So how much time you spend preparing, writing, rewriting it, that's how things is gonna developing. So pay attention, that's what stands out more than anything. Thank you.
Yeah, I would plus one to that. Like typos or spelling mistakes in resume are really dangerous. Like just to give you an example on how minor things can affect you is, let's say you put a skill in your resume. Let's say you add jQuery. Okay, so jQuery has a way of how it's written. Like the J is small and the Q is in caps. It's and that formatting really matters, you know. And I have seen, like when I was looking for co-op, Smile gave me the same advice and I did the necessary changes, and I have seen the change in the number of responses I got on my application. So yeah, that's really important. And in terms of the interviews, yeah, like my friends have really spoken in detail, but to give you a brief overview, usually you would have, most probably you would have one coding round. That would be your entry into the recruiting process. Then depending on the company, maybe 1 to 3 rounds of one video interviews with the engineers. And then you would most probably have like a HR round where they test your, like kind of your values and your experience. So yeah, uh, that that's how the interviews are for co-op.
Yeah, as like most of the things they have told you about, and the thing is, interviews are going to be so diverse. Like the hiring processes are going to be so diverse. Like sometimes like the initial round might be on phone, and the questions might be simple Java related questions, like you have like questions related to your favorite programming language, etc. And once you go a little bit deeper into the hiring process, they might ask you like whiteboard interviews where to actually solve some of the coding questions that on your whiteboard, and tell them your approach and why it's like the best approach, and or what might be like a better approach, etc. And like Neil knows, like we both did like our process through Intuit, and he knows like they might like there was like in the second round, like we had to we were given questions we were given questions on the same coding site, and we had to solve the questions in front of the interviewer and like walk them through our approach and why we are doing like why we are writing what we are writing, etc. And of course for your resume, like they're just gonna ask you questions on about the projects and your work experience. So definitely brush up on your projects, brush up on your experience, because it's not always that we remember every little detail about it. Even though, of course, we have worked on it, it might just be better to always uh, like uh, go over our projects, go over the technologies that we worked on. They are definitely going to ask you questions about that, and if you can't answer like, even simple questions, then they are gonna like doubt your like doubt the authenticity of your resume. Yeah, that's it.
So there is one more question for Veja. So Ali asks, Like, did your previous professional experience help you to find a co-op or internship, or was all aligned program?
So I would say it's mainly aligned program. So big tech companies, when they find interns, they really do not care much about your previous experience because they all have their own tech stacks. So the technology used is often the case that it's completely different from others. Like in Facebook, uh, like like in Facebook, we do not use the database. We were using RocksDB, and I don't know a company outside Facebook use RocksDB. So so what they want interns to do is to learn fast. So as long as you can demonstrate that you can learn fast, then there will be no problem hiring you. But for startups, they want you to have the skills when you are hired. So really, so for these kind of companies, really important to have a good resume that have some previous professional experience.
Any other questions? I just want to say one thing also. I'm so glad to see that a couple of you mentioned PDP. That's very, very important. And the reason why I want to say a couple of things about that is that every time when classes were in person, when we, at least when I go, and I'm sure that Kati too, when we go in class and we ask students who doesn't like PDP, all hands goes up except maybe 2 or 3. Nobody didn't like it. And in my 6 years at the Northeastern, I can't only count maybe on my 2 hands how many people said that they love PDP. What was a huge surprise for me and for Kati was last summer when we were reading students' reflections, and the question was similar like tonight's topic. Which class prepare you the best for the co-op? The 85% of students said that was a PDP. And that was a big surprise. Yeah, I think that it was a opposite, or even maybe even worse, that at the beginning was like 5% said that they like it, but at the end of the day, PDP seems like a really, really important class that students should pay attention, and it seems that it's really helped during your co-op or internship.
I have a little bit of a question that I'm dying to ask to each participant. My name is Anderson. I'm in the Align program. I am in my 2nd semester, so I'm doing OOD. And my question is, what I want, if you can kind of summarize your first week after you got the co-op, like what was it like in terms of connecting back to the academics? So did you apply right away some of the courses and you said, oh, I saw this in this course, or I'm glad I took this course, or there are things that I still need to learn on the job, or like I want to hear more about the experiential part of your first weeks.
Yeah, I can answer that about my experience. So the first day that I walked in, I was told to, so they basically gave me an entire project by myself because it's a very small company. There was just 6-7 people, and they were like, okay, since you're going to be here for 3 months, instead of involving you with someone with the work that's already going on, we anyways need something done, which is a big responsibility. So we'll just give it to you. And there was nothing about it done before, so they just said you have to write this and do it. So I mean, obviously now when someone tells you to do that, when you're a naive developer, you start writing code. But this was a system that I was supposed to write, that was it's still being used. They're going to be using it, they're going to be modifying it. And my task was basically writing a data generator uh, that looked like it generated realistic weather data. So it was actually generated from mathematical equations, but it was supposed to look like it's actual real data, so that they could then use the data that I've generated, that my model has generated, to train and to train an actual classifier on it. And they told me that, okay, this is what we need. And it was kind of even difficult to grasp my mind around the breadth of this. So here PDP had taught us that instead of just going and starting and like just typing your first class name and starting to code, you should plan out, you should make a class diagram of things, you should make sure that when you design this class diagram, when you try to add new things to it, it should be modular in a way that there's these principles called solid principles that you guys will learn about, that these principles should be followed. And I did that. I actually spent the first 2 days just making the class diagram perfect, to the point where if I had to add a completely different family of objects, it wasn't going to be, I wasn't going to have to go and change one line of code in my implementation. And that helped me so much, and that was actually something that really even impressed the people over there. And now if they want to make any changes to my project, they have to just implement some certain interfaces, and all they have to do is just fill in the steps in the actual methods that I've written in my interfaces. So that was how I like literally one-to-one mapped the experience that I had in the PDP course to day 1 and day 2 of my internship experience.
So my experience was like, for the first when it's you might be joining a co-op, for the first week or so, you will be in such a phase where you will be just getting to know the systems. So that was what I my experience was. But while looking at the existing code base, or like the practices they use, I did not feel, or did not feel that this is something I had never seen. So that is thanks to the academy, the courses I had taken. So thanks to that, I already had understanding, or I was known to some of the methods of software development, the approach they took, or the practices that are being followed, so, and also technologies that they were using. So yeah, that's how I did not feel very alien to the new system that I was trying to adapt to. That's how my the academics were useful.
Yeah, so like as Neil said, the first trick is usually going to be you're going to be introduced, like uh, you're going to be introduced to the systems that are already in place. You're going to be introduced to the code that is already in place that you're going to work on. And so most of the times, first trick is just getting to know things, getting to know other people, and setting up your system, as to so to speak. But yes, uh, PDP, as the other Neil said, definitely helped a lot, because when I was given tasks to write code, I was first thinking about like designing the overall approach, designing the modules of the codes. And then I like thought about, what if someone wanted to change some of this, what if someone wanted to add the new feature to this, and like that kind of thinking, and then writing that code, like this helped me a lot. And it didn't feel alien. And so it was really nice when like my manager actually wanted to add a new feature to the programs that I wrote, and then how simple it was really to just like change one or two lines here and there, and then see that see like a very big change happen to that program. That's why I said the things that I work on were almost as if the assignments from the programming design paradigm course. And for me personally, I had to work on systems level things more, writing bash scripts, writing Python scripts, and the computer systems course that I had taken helped me a lot as well in there, because it built the basics of our industry, where all of us start from writing C level code, writing sockets, writing distributed cache systems, special distributed cache systems for them, and how the protocols work, how how modular the data is at that level, at the system level. All of that seemed really familiar to the things that I worked on. So definitely, depending upon the company that you place, depending upon the work that you're gonna do, there's definitely something in this academics that is going to be similar and familiar, and you're not gonna feel much alien to that anyway. Yeah, so that was, yeah.
Yeah, the first week is mainly be familiar with the system and attend lots of trainings for interns, and so as lots of training there. Like in Facebook, we take like 3 days for training. Mainly be familiar with Facebook's specific tech stacks, like how to use Facebook's version control software, which Mercury. Well, outside Facebook, we use Git. In Facebook, we use Mercury. So they are pretty much the same, but there are a few important differences there. And in the end of the week, we learned I learned what my project is, and did my first task. And this reminds me about the object-oriented design course, because my first task is to write unit tests for existing code. So I think it's really interesting. This is a really good task because it helps me understand the code base better. And in the Uber internships, I was first week is also be familiar with the systems as well. And in that internship, I chose a harder project. So so the project goal was not already set. So I was writing design docs and discuss with mentors what the project should be. So this is my experience in the natural language processing course, because we need to define our own goals and collect corresponding resources, like papers, like other knowledges, to finish the project. Thank you.
Great. Well, we are, it's just after 6 now, so it's time to wrap up. I just want to give a big thank you to all of our volunteers for sharing their experiences with us. A lot of great insights, not only about coursework, but also interview prep and resume tips. So thank you so much. And I hope that you have all found this session helpful. I did put a feedback survey in the chat. If you could just take a minute and fill that out, that would be very helpful just for us to hear your feedback. And if you have any suggestions about future topics, we would love to hear them. Thank you again so much for coming. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
I agree. Thank you, everyone. I love listening to these. I learn as much as everybody else. So thank you for sharing such helpful information.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for having us. See you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.